Hey folks, welcome back to Tentaoutdoors. My name is Alan from season 10 of Alone. In today's video, we are going to meet the cast of the US version of Alone season 12. At the end of the video, I will be giving my prediction of who I think is going to win this season. Stick around. Folks, it's been a minute, I know. I've been working on some other projects, hoping to share one of those with you in a few of my upcoming videos. But I will be doing recap videos for every episode of the US version of season 12 Alone coming up in June. Now, so huge news for this season. Brand new location, never been filmed there before. This season is in Africa, South Africa, in the Great Karoo. So apparently this is a vast and untamed semi-desert in South Africa's Western Cape province. So this opens up a whole new realm in the show of Alone, being in a deserty, hot environment with a whole bunch of new wild critters that we have never seen on the show before. And judging by what participants are taking, bows and arrows, they are going to be able to try to harvest some of South Africa's game, I presume. I'm hoping. So I'm looking forward to some bow hunting and the possibility of another season where big game is involved. So let's get right into it. So the first contestant I'm going to talk about, his name is Pablo Arquelles, and I apologize if I butchered your name. He is 55 years old, and there are quite a few males in their 50s this year. So when I won, I was 52 years old, and at that time I was the oldest participant to have won. So we'll see if that holds this year, because there's quite a few folks in their 50s. So Pablo is from Jacksonville, Florida, and he's a video editor. Hold on a second. I could use him for this video maybe. I got to put on the spectacles, guys. Sorry. In my 40s, my near vision kind of went downhill. So he's a video editor. He's born in Cuba, and his love for the outdoors came at a very young age. He spent his childhood running around barefoot, playing, trapping, fishing, hunting birds with his dad, or practicing with a slingshot with friends in the woods. Okay, so he grew up in a very creative family, apparently. He made a lot of his own toys, slingshots, spears, and at 11 years old, he even made his first crossbow. So these skills may come in handy fashioning some of his own weapons when he's out there. So in 1980, Pablo left Cuba to come to the United States for a better life with his parents. Okay, he's always been super active, enjoying various activities, skiing, motocross, martial arts. None of these are really going to help you too much. Bushcraft and archery, yes. But his love for the outdoors is where his heart is, and the place where it feels the most connected to God and nature. So not a whole lot of information about Pablo. Even when I was watching his video, I had a hard time getting a real feel for his skills. So for me, he's kind of a wild card out there. I never really got a feel for his sorts of skills. So his 10 items. So I'm not going to list off everybody's 10 items. I'm simply going to talk about maybe some different items that are a little bit unusual. So he did choose to bring a shovel, and all the rest are pretty standard items that they brought. So the only one that might be a little bit unusual is a shovel. Next, we're on to a fellow named Colton Gilman. Okay, now Colton Gilman is interesting to me. He's young, he's 35 years old, and he's a carpenter. And what I like about this guy is that he's a true traditional bow hunter. He has harvested big game animals, including elk, cut them apart by himself, butchered them, packed them out. So he's a bow hunter. And remember, when you're on the show, William proved that you didn't have to bring your bow and arrow last year by winning, but having a large source of food being harvested with a bow and arrow can be the difference between being successful and not, as with Jordan Jonas, Clay Hayes, Roland, right? All those guys harvested big game with their bows and turned out to be the winner. Last year was the only season so far that contestant Timber harvested a big game animal and did not end up being the winner. So I think that's more the exception, not the norm, but we'll see what happens. So anyways, Colton, I kind of like this guy, I do. He was born in West Virginia, and he spent his youth exploring the woods, flipping rocks in the creek, casting lines in the rivers, and he was raised in a bow hunting family. He had a bow in his hands as soon as he was old enough to hold one, and the woods are where he felt most at home. Yeah, so after moving to Montana at age 25, Colton and his girlfriend spent much of their time exploring new country and hunting new species with their longbows, always driven to do things considered to be impossible by most, and this felt like the perfect challenge for him. Colton, his bow hunting skills have me interested in this guy. Next up, we have a fellow named Will Lamb. He's 31 years old, and he's from Leahy, Texas. I've never been to Texas, never been to Africa, but just watching the videos from where it's being filmed this season and in Texas, I mean, it looks kind of similar, semi-desert sort of area. So that could be an advantage for him. And in his video, he has a lot of African animals that he is handling. So that may be an advantage to him as well. I saw some sables in there that he had, a number of other African species as well. So he's been around African animals before. Advantage? We'll see. He grew up in the South Texas border town of Laredo, and he spent summers on his grandparents' ranch in the hill country, kickstarting his lifelong connection with nature on the banks of the river, tubing, fishing, catching crawdad, and loving life. His father taught him to hunt and trap feral hogs, chase South Texas whitetail, and live a true country life. And he quickly picked up modern methods, but always had an interest in more primitive and traditional ways. So Will got his associate degree in aviation maintenance, and then he was inspired by the movie Jeremiah Johnson, and he went on this massive trek from Texas to Oregon, and along the way he developed all these skills to give him lasting confidence in the outdoors. So for his items, all pretty standard, except for he did bring a machete and a shovel. All right, next up we have Kelsey Loper. She is 35, and she's from Montana, and she is a professional horse trainer. All right, so after watching her video, she did seem very confident. She seemed to have a lot of skills, and she's so confident, she said in her video that I am a force to be reckoned with. So I like that confidence that she has in herself. So she learned to hunt and fish in the North Woods at an early age. And at 19, she moved to Wyoming to guide a dude ranch, and she never looked back. The mountains hooked her, and from there she learned archery and trapping, and she made money by training horses in the summer, trapping bobcats, and working at a vet clinic in between. Now, Kelsey also trains wild BLM Mustangs and bureaus. Kelsey is almost drowned. She's been charged by grizzlies and had the mountains test her power. She believes nobody should hold you back and to always say yes to opportunities or adventures, no matter what. You can always make money, but you can't always make memories. Love that. So for her items, pretty standard, except she is bringing rice, salt, and sugar as one of her items. Next up, we have our Canadian. His name is Baja, and he's 50 years old, and he's from Ontario, Canada, a small town called Warncliffe. He is a homesteader and railroad maintenance person, growing up in a city but spending summers in rural villages. He developed a strong connection to nature and learned the basics of farming and living off the land. And as a child, Baja enjoyed activities like hunting and crafting tools like bows and arrows. After gaining military survival training and witnessing the collapse of the USSR, he and his wife moved to Canada in 1999. Inspired by shows like Alone, Baja decided to embrace life in the Canadian wilderness. Living in their homestead, Baja and his family farm, raise animals, hunt, fish, and forage for medical plants, creating ointments and creams from nature's bounty. So after watching Baja's video, there was something he said that kind of made me more interested in him. He said he has a skill that nobody else has. He says this special skill he has is that he is very good at living outside of comfort. His kids are older, so that's always a strength. I'm a little bit worried about his hunting skills. I don't know what sort of experience he has. Like, these are just snapshots, you know. It's really hard to get a solid understanding, but I am kind of interested in this guy. I'm just worried about his hunting skills. Now, for his 10 items, he is bringing a food ration of pemmican. He brought salt, and he brought a shovel. Another interesting thing about his items, he did not bring a ferro rod. Folks, next up we have a contestant named Douglas Meyer. He is 57 years old, and he is from North Carolina, and he is a primitive technology instructor. Interesting. So he grew up at a family lake in Kentucky where he was immersed in outdoor adventures, sparking Doug's lifelong passion for nature and primitive skills. After high school, he enlisted in the Army as a combat engineer, and sounds like he has a real connection with ancient crafts and indigenous skills. Douglas has authored books on Native American blowguns and Stone Age survival. That's awesome. Discussing his 10 items. Now, he did bring a water bottle, a machete, and a ration of pemmican. Next, we have Doug North. Doug is 53 years old from New Hampshire. So he is a user experience designer. So after watching this guy's video, man, he is funny and he is a very talented bushcrafter. The stuff he was making on his video was unbelievable. This guy has skills in creating some really cool bushcraft items. I'm not sure about his hunting experience. He grew up in a small farm in Vermont, being surrounded by forests, so he's always fascinated by being outside, and he read a lot of survival books, and he spent many hours hunting and fishing with his father in nearby New Hampshire. Now, again, I like to know more about their hunting and fishing skills, because you can't underestimate the importance of a big game kill in any season, not just this season. Interesting fact about Doug: he has written several magazine articles and done dozens of blogs describing how to make objects out of wood and metal. And as a primary contributor, his name is featured on the cover of the book titled Big Book of Gizmos and Gadgets. So these skills that he has, fashioning objects out of wood, obviously metal's not going to make a difference out there, could play a factor in his success in the game. After I watched Doug's video, I do like him. I think he's going to do well. He's got that thing, that drive. He just seems kind of, he actually reminded me a little bit of Dub, just a little bit. So, and we all know how well Dub did out there. So for his items, he has a canteen, shovel, and he also chose to bring salt. The next contestant is Nathan Olsen. Now, does that name ring a bell? It should, because if you watch season 10, Luke Olsen was on that season, and Nathan is actually Luke Olsen's brother, his big brother. He's 52 years old from Idaho. So if you know anything about survival in the outdoors, you'll probably have heard of Nathan and Luke's father, Larry D. Olsen, who is like an OG survivalist. He's a legend in the survival world. And I know that Nathan and his brothers grew up, they were immersed in intense survival skills. And I'm really curious to see how Nathan will do, because Nathan will definitely have the skills, and I feel Nathan will go far in this game. So just looking at Nathan Olsen's 10 items, a couple different items. He did choose to bring soap, and he also brought salt. I'm really anxious to see how Nathan does, because growing up in that family, there's a lot of skills. Our next contestant is a fellow named Jit Patel. I don't think I'm saying it incorrectly, but if I am, Jit, I apologize. Jit is 35 years old and he's currently living in New Zealand. His profession? Outdoor educator. I like this guy now. So, think about outdoor educators. I mean, even if you're not living that outdoor lifestyle all the time, you're constantly practicing skills and teaching skills that can benefit you in this game. So he was born in the UK and he grew up in South London, and he was introduced to the outdoors mainly through school camps. But at 14, he joined the Army Cadets, and that gave him his first experience of embracing the elements and learning to push himself through challenges. So it was in New Zealand where he started working for the organization called Outward Bound, where he was instructing all the outdoor education skills. So in his bio, Jit admits that bow hunting wasn't really a part of his growing up, being from London, but being exposed and working for Outward Bound, he was introduced to bow hunting and tracking and whatnot. So we'll see how those archery skills play out. So just talking about Jit's 10 items a little bit, he did bring a water bottle. That's the only thing that's kind of different. The rest are pretty standard, but you can see this season being in Africa and a semi-desert environment, many more contestants are bringing a canteen or a water bottle for obvious reasons. Our final contestant is Katie Ridge. She is 46 years old from New South Wales, Australia. And her profession, fitting, she is a survival skills instructor and mentor. So in her early 20s, she left Australia to the USA and she dove deeply into learning primitive skills, survival, went on wilderness adventures, and that was over 20 years ago. So she is back in Australia, mastering these skills and teaching them to the Australian community. Folks, thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the video. As promised, I will now make my prediction. Well, guys, I gotta go with Colton Gilman. I'm picking Colton because of his traditional bow hunting skills. I mean, I'm assuming that they will be able to hunt a variety of game, and he has the skills and knowledge with a bow and how to break down animals and hopefully preserve them in this hot environment. So I'm going with Colton because of his history as a successful traditional bow hunter. And he's young and he seems to have the right attitude. But if you remember my video last year, I did correctly choose William Larkham Jr. to be the winner of season 11, and he won. Don't forget to tune into my recap videos coming up in June. I'll put the date of the premiere episode. I can't remember exactly what it is. I'll put it right here. I will be adding my own thoughts and insights during each episode, just like I did last year. And I look forward to doing it. It's a lot of fun. Kind of brings me back to the experience, you know. So yeah, thanks for sticking around, guys, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.